gaze on it and connect with it energetically, as if you're seeing it for the very
Welcome to
first
Spiritual
time.
Ambition, where we tune in to awaken our divine nature and explore the provocative inner force compelling us toward our fullest potential. If you've achieved external success but feel a deeper calling, if you're tired of dimming your light to fit in, and you know there's a more powerful way to live and lead and love, you're in the right place. Host Donna Bond is a best-selling author, modern-day high priestess, and catalyst for personal transformation. Together, we're birthing a new paradigm of loving leadership, integrating our humanity with divine wisdom as our individual awakening serves collective evolution. Here's your host of Spiritual Ambition, Donna Bond.
Notice how it feels
Hello,
to be
everyone.
present in your body.
Welcome in. It's so great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me, for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to acknowledge myself for being here.
Is your 0 point.
Whew. Life, man, it is such a roller coaster.
Close your eyes.
I was just sort of attuning to everything that's happening in my world. And
feel the energy of your
you know, when you're
higher
going through
self
something, you know that there's
pulsating
learning for you and with it,
This
but
is the same
we're not always
energy that
prepared
powers
to be
nature.
distilling the learnings until
From
we're able to
this
sort of
0
work through
point,
things
sense into
emotionally
your sacred soul
and
signature.
mentally even. Today we are talking about higher
In this
human
moment
integration.
of clarity.
And higher human integration is our opportunity to liberate our soul, to recalibrate our perceptions, and to elevate our
Take
consciousness.
one final breath.
So that's what we're going to be exploring today. And I'm going to share with you
Bringing this
two
centered
traps
awareness
that we get into that really keep us from being able to
Return to this
access
0 point
the present
portal
moment, from being able to
whenever you feel
access
caught
our
in
higher
mind
knowing,
trap.
our original wisdom,
Your
I like to
original
call it.
wisdom is just
I
one.
wrote that book,
breath
Original Wisdom,
away.
Harness the Power of the Authentic You. You know, I really want to recommend the audiobook on Audible because I narrate it and you get all of my quirky personality. And at the end, in the last chapter, I actually get really emotional and I start crying. Here comes the rain in Costa Rica. It's like right on cue. It knows that I'm broadcasting live, so it's going to get in here with a little bit more rain. We went through, it hasn't rained a drop all day, but now it's going to rain. This is how I know I'm in this big conversation with the universe. All right, what do we do here? We call in the light. I want to invite you wherever you are, unless of course you're driving. Let's just take a moment and let's just tune in, because that is the promise of this show, where I give women the opportunity to tune in, to experience their divine nature. Hello to everybody in the comments that are giving me a shout out. Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and just close your eyes and just take a nice big inhalation. And just giving yourself gratitude for your breath, gratitude for your body, gratitude for your life, even if it's in shambles right now, even if it looks like a big old hot mess, it's yours. And you are authoring your life. I know it's hard to believe that that's even a true statement, but it is. And in every moment, life is giving us the opportunity to collapse, to fall into the victim patterns that keep us limited and powerless, or to bring ourselves back to our hearts, to our energies, to the higher knowing within us that reminds us of our power, our light, our truth. Infinite universe, once again, we call ourselves forward into your loving. We ask to be cleared, filled, surrounded, and protected with the clear white light of living love. We ask that any karma, negativity, imbalance, any emotional pain, any distress, discomfort, dis-ease, any energy or vibrational frequency that is vibrating at anything less than the frequency of divine loving, we ask that anything with a resonant frequency less than that be lifted and transmuted at this time, no matter where you are, no matter when you're watching this. Let's just do it for the whole planet right now. Whew. You can feel it. Into this space, we call upon grace, peace, light, love, joy, upliftment, inspiration, enthusiasm, purpose, meaning, acceptance, understanding, compassion. We acknowledge and we welcome only those divine beings of light who love each one of us unconditionally, who work for the divine plan and who work for the light. We welcome only you into our sacred space here today. We ask for your support and assistance in bringing forward healing, revelation, and wisdom of the heart that will resonate most profoundly with each individual here for their highest good and the highest good of all concerned. We are so grateful for the opportunity to come together and do this work. And for this and more, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the beating of our heart and the breath in our lungs. Thank you for the opportunities and the challenges that are presenting themselves to us. And thank you for our ability to respond instead of react. Just bringing your attention back to the room. I have with me these angel cards, and all of my hotel friends who have watched my career, who have worked with me behind the scenes in hotels for many, many years before I did this. These were always on my desk. And I acquired these cards from a New Age bookstore in 1986, probably, somewhere in Connecticut, where I grew up. And these cards have been on my desk since then. And one of them just fell out of the bowl, and it's flexibility. So this is the theme for our show today. Can any of you relate to a little flexibility? What would it be like for us to exercise more flexibility? Whew, it's a good one for me. I can tend to be rigid sometimes and like fixated on my point, on my position. I'm a type 1 on the Enneagram, so sometimes I can be up on my of the benefits of bending and the benefits of bending without breaking. All right. Well, for those of you who have been tuning in on a regular basis, you know that the first thing we jump into before we're going to get to our soul trip today is our sacred circle of light. And every episode, we bring our community together as we intentionally send healing energy and divine love around the globe to those who need it most. So maybe you know somebody who is struggling in your world. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's a work situation. Maybe it's a relationship opportunity. But whoever it is, in this moment, let's just close our eyes and access the power of our heart. Access the power of our collective light. And we're just going to send the light up ahead. Today, I am giving a call out and a shout out to Joanne. We're sending light to Joanne, to Mike, to Sophia. We're sending light to Bob. It's his birthday today. And to Betty. We're sending light to Nicole and Ashley and Meredith, Addison and Brooke and Mara and Paul. If there's somebody in your life that you would like our collective light, our collective energy, our collective love to be sent to that individual, you can go to spiritualambition.sacredlight.com. On our next show, I will give them a personal shout out. Your name is not revealed, so this can be completely anonymous. I'm hearing a call right now for David, and we're going to send the light to David right now. Yeah, for the highest good. I want everybody to just tune in and feel the essence of this. You know, we underestimate the power of our prayers and the power of our collective intention. And intention is such a way to bring clarity and focus. We're going to talk today about mental tornadoes. Zach, thank you. We're going to do our best, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do to break free of the mental tornado. So as we move into our soul trip, you know, first of all, what is the mental tornado? This swirling chatter of the mind. And I like to use the analogy of the blender because it's a good one. Once we're in the blender, we've all been in the blender. I've been in the blender a couple of times over the last few weeks. When we're in the blender, we have absolutely no perspective. And this is what I mean by the tornado of life. We get into that swirling, and when you're in that shit, that's it. You're in there, and there's no perspective, and there's no chance of perspective. And oftentimes what happens when we get in the blender is our nervous system also is sort of on its own agenda. And when our nervous system is on its own agenda, sometimes we can't bring ourselves back from that. And if that is a situation that you're struggling with, I want to encourage you to find a therapist, somebody who can work with you on trauma. Because trauma, when it gets activated and reactivated inside of our consciousness, it will send our nervous system down its own path of trouble, down its own path of its agenda. And it's not as easy to recoup ourselves from that. But with our analogy of the blender, when we experience some sort of an emotional upset or some sort of a trigger, we do have the ability to get outside of the blender, and we can witness ourselves. We can witness the fact that we are in an upset. We can witness the fact that something is happening, and we can still not react. we can ground ourselves and pull our attention inward in such a way that we're aware that the blender might be going on, yet we don't have to be in it. So there's two traps that I want to talk about. And these are two traps that once we have more awareness around these traps, we have more dominion over when these traps enter into our consciousness. We can feel like we have a little bit more control over the monkey mind, over the chatter of when our mind gets a hold of something and pulls us into a loop and pulls us into the loop of that blender. So trap number one is the trap of time. And time is an illusion, really. And I know if we're really entrenched in the physical world and in the third dimensional reality, you might even be triggered by hearing this. And so I get that, and I understand that. And I would just ask you to take a breath, because it is on your breath that you can pull yourself out of the trap of time. So what does the trap of time look like? It looks like when we get toggling between the past and the future. And in the past, we can get obsessed over I could have, I should have, I would have, right? And then we're stuck in the quagmire of that. And the truth is, there's nothing we can do about it. The past is the past. And so we can move into acceptance with that. And that's a whole other class of how we go about doing that. But I just want to point out, give you the awareness around the first piece of this time trap, right? There's the past, the shoulda, the coulda, the woulda. And as we obsess in that, we take ourselves out of the present. Then we go into the future, right? And now I like to call it dreaming up a drama. Or I think it was Brene Brown that said a dress rehearsal for tragedy. We all do this. We're all really good at it. I am really good at it. I come from a family of drama dreamers that are really good at it, where in a second, we can immediately go into all of the limiting, scary, bad shit that's going to happen by dreaming up a drama. And we get stuck in that mostly out of habit, mostly because we are unwilling to take greater dominion over our consciousness. So there's a point in the middle, the 0 point in the middle. And this has to do with the practice that I'm going to share today. So that's the time trap. Let me just check my notes here. Dreaming up the drama, negative fantasizing. This is one giant trap that keeps us from accessing our higher knowing. Because the only way that we can access our higher knowing, our original wisdom, this infinite, inherent intelligence that we all have, that is rooted and grounded in the energy of love. You have it, I have it, every single crazy person on the planet has it. But if we're in the past or we're in the future, we can't get to it. So that's the first trap. The second trap is duality, polarity, either or, right? I can either do this or I can do that. And we live in this dimension where we're in the land of opposites. And so we are constantly, in every moment, assessing or judging what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. But as we do that, and as we assign meaning, and I want to be really clear about that because we're the ones assigning the meaning. As we assign the meaning, we keep ourselves in this place of ping pong. So again, this is all about awareness in this moment. We can swing back and forth in these polarities, and that keeps us in the tornado. It keeps us in the blender. So we have the past and the future, and we have the good and the bad. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. We have been taught by people who have been taught that these are the measures of our life, the measures of our goodness, the measures of what's okay and what's not okay. I just want you to take a deep breath right now. And somewhere in your consciousness, I want you to just let that all go. Like, just let it go. Let go of the future and the past, and let go of what's right and what's wrong. Let go of he said or she said. And know that there's room for all of it. And when we observe somebody who is caught up in something that we want to judge as bad or wrong, there are always many factors that have led that person or that circumstance to play itself out in that way. And most of the time, we're not privy to it. We don't understand it. We can't even see it. So we're just going based on assumption. And this also keeps us in the trap of the spinning tornado. So I want to give you a little practice today. And this is an easy practice. And I wanted to make it 3 minutes because I like the number 3. And I thought that that would be fun to say, like, oh, it's a 3-minute practice. But you know me, I'm long-winded. So it's 4 minutes. And I'm going to ask Kelly to go ahead and play this meditation that I created for you. And I want you to just come into yourself and listen deeply. Be stationary for this. Open your heart, open your mind, open your deep listening to what's on offer for you. And I actually recorded this for you. You can have a copy of it, and we'll give you that information a little bit later. But just make yourself comfortable and just tune in to this guided meditation. Take 3 deep breaths. Just notice your breath without changing it. And feel into your heartbeat's steady rhythm. Open your eyes and find something in your room that's pleasing to look at. Rest your gaze on it and connect with it energetically, as if you're seeing it for the very first time. Move now to a second object.
Give it your full attention. Again, merging your energy with it. Find now a third object, and again, merge yourself with this pleasing object in your environment. Notice how it feels to be present in your body. This sensation is your 0 point. Close your eyes again and take one deep cleansing breath. Feel the energy of your higher self pulsating through you. This is the same energy that powers nature. From this 0 point, sense into your sacred soul signature. What guidance is available to you in this moment of clarity? Take one final breath and open your eyes, bringing this centered awareness with you. Return to this 0 point portal whenever you feel caught in a mind trap. Your original wisdom is just one breath away. How was that for everyone? This is a simple, easy way to bring yourself present. And I'll be honest, I got some sort of upsetting news right before the show today. And I brought myself present. And it's in so doing that I have greater access to my sacred soul signature. My sacred soul signature is the divine blueprint that is encoded with my entelechy, what I am here to do, to be, to have, to give, to share. The reason why I took embodiment and came here to this life. And you too have a sacred soul signature. And you know, so many of us were out in life and we're hitting our head against the wall, trying to figure out what I'm here to do, who I'm here to be, how can I get it right? We're in that toggle back and forth. We have this encoded wisdom within us that is a guidance system. And when I say guidance system, I mean this is beyond our intuition and just receiving messages. This is really about the unfolding of our life and recognizing that the unfolding of our life is encoded in the energetics of who we are. And the more we liberate that, the more we liberate our soul, our sacred soul signature, the more we're going to have a different experience of life, because there is a natural process of elevation that will take place in our consciousness. This is like, most of us are walking around with our cameras super zoomed in, right? And we're looking through these tiny little windows. And we're down in the minutia and we're stuck in the crap of all of that. When if we would just widen our lens, this is what happens when we can access that higher knowing and that higher wisdom. Then suddenly something that seems like a big insurmountable problem when we're stuck in it on the ground doesn't seem as insurmountable as we make it. It's our mind that's making it that, because then we're in the blender. So we've got to get out of that blender. And the way that we do that is to come present. So higher human integration is really a fancy name for the healing technology that I have developed that unfolds through my master course, which is called Empower the Authentic You. And if you go to higherhumanintegration.com, you can read all about this. This is about recalibrating your perceptions. And most of us live in a tiny little box, and we love our way around in there because it's safe and it's familiar and we know about it and we know that there's not going to be any surprises in there. And the truth is that there's this whole other world outside of this little box. But we like to stay in that box for those reasons that I just stated. Like, even if we're miserable in there, even if we are uncomfortable in there, we'll stay in there because it feels familiar and it feels safe. So when I left corporate land, 28 years, I was entrenched in the physical world and trying to do life according to the rules of society, the rules of government, the rules of religion, the rules of society, right? There's like a lot of influences and forces telling us who to be, how to be, what to be, why to be. And I was following instruction from some very well-intentioned people who were passing their guidance along to me in my life. My parents, my teachers, my bosses, and everyone was doing the best that they could. But I had confined myself in a box. And as I was living in that box, part of me was dying. And I stayed in that box for a really, really long time because I didn't realize that there was a whole world going on outside of the box. And when I talk about the whole world going on, I'm talking about our perceptions. And if you've been following the show and you saw the previous episodes, you'll recognize now that I've brought us through mindset, heart set, skill set, and soul set. And these 4 dimensions, these 4 areas of consciousness are our wholeness. And, when we're stuck in the physical world, we can get really fixated. We're not being flexible with the idea that there is so much more to you than just your mind. There's so much more to you than just your mind. That we have a multi-dimensional consciousness that comprises the whole and the all of who we are. But we overlook it. We overlook our emotional body and our heart. I remember when I first started doing this work and I realized how, rigid is a good word, but how, I don't want to say heartless because it feels so demeaning to myself, but that thing was locked up. It was not even a remote consideration for me to think about bringing my heart into my work. And oh my God, That's terrible for myself, for the people that I cared about and was working alongside with. So once I started giving myself permission to enfold my heart more into my work, well, I started doing different work, didn't I? Then I talked about skill sets a couple of weeks ago. And, we're not taught things like how to get present, how to deeply, deeply listen to someone with no agenda and no need to have to interject our stuff onto them while they're exploring their consciousness. How just simply bringing my awareness to perhaps the person that I'm judging, that they too are just like me. They are a spiritual being having a human experience. They are making their way through this epic human adventure, just like me. And we're all doing the best that we can. So there's a whole other way of relating to ourselves and to our life. There's a whole other way of relating to each other and to the universe, to life itself as a living, breathing, dynamic, chaotic, unfolding masterpiece of confusion. And right now, we are in it, right? We are in it. I mean, flip on the news. Don't flip on the news. We're in it, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. And we're in it because we're at this great, epic course correction in the time of history. And we could really use some new tools and some new skills, some new perspectives. We need to recalibrate our perspectives so that we can zoom our camera out and that we can realize that there is more going on than what I am just fixated on, focused on in this tiny little space. So if you visit Higher Human Integration, you can learn a little bit more about my master course, and it'll change your life. It will absolutely change your life. Now, it's a 9-module class, and I know people hear that and they're like, oh, I don't want to do 9 modules. I get it. I get it. But what if it really could change your life? Because it really could change your life. As a matter of fact, Christine, if you're still here, chime in. Let everybody know. These are powerful concepts and teachings and practices that are woven throughout the entire course. All right, that's enough about my sales pitch. But Higher Human Integration, it really is about the dynamic process of aligning and integrating your higher self with your human self. And as you do that, as you integrate your higher self and your human self, then you have access to the power and the wisdom of your soul in your day-to-day life, where you need it, where you need some magic, where you need some wisdom that can really support you in your dreams and bringing forward what you're here to do or create or share in the world. All right. So remember those two things that are hijacking your soul's wisdom: the trap of time and the trap of duality. And just by becoming more aware of when you're in that trap, come into the center. You can use my 0-point practice, listen to it a couple of times, and you'll remember, All you have to do is look around the room slowly and intentionally and bring yourself into the present moment. You've got this. You've got this. We're going to move into the celebration of love's alchemy. This is a gentle pause to remember and recognize the extraordinary magic that is woven into our day-to-day lives. So every episode, we take a moment of loving celebration for something that might seem ordinary or contrary at first glance, but it holds within it a spark of brilliance as we celebrate and remind ourselves why we chose to take a body and to come here to human land. From the sweetness of a juicy orange to the blessing of an emotional trigger, we turn our attention to the less obvious causes for celebration and the little things that we might be taking for granted. Through loving appreciation and gratitude, we uplift ourselves and our vibration with the power of love, sending ripples of good juju out across the planet. As alchemists of upliftment, we are turning the seemingly mundane into marvels of magnificence as we see the whole human experience as the alchemy to our wisdom. Just think about that. The whole human experience is the alchemy for our wisdom. And that's really the truth, because everything that happens in life is constantly giving us the opportunity to grow and learn and transform and evolve. And we have a choice in every moment to perceive it that way or to be pissed off about it. So today, our celebration for love's alchemy, we're going to bring a little love to boundaries. And I personally have been going through a masterclass in boundaries. And, you know, we're not good at setting boundaries. And I was thinking about, why aren't we good? Well, I think one of the number one reasons that we don't set boundaries is people pleasing. You know, we want people to like us, and maybe we're afraid that we're going to be rejected, or we're afraid that we will be perceived as selfish. So I think conflict avoidance also, because sometimes if we try to set a boundary or we ask for a guardrail or a guideline in our experience, sometimes we might get pushback from our husband or our sister or our best friend or our coworkers. We don't know. But if we are not up for sometimes what we could perceive as an uncomfortable conversation, then it makes boundaries even more tricky. And so I think as a general rule, we're not good at setting them. The more I dig into the boundary discussion and topic and really understand it, the more I know it's really about the boundaries that I'm setting within myself. And what I've discovered is that healthy boundaries are actually sacred thresholds that honor our values. So just think about that, a sacred threshold that honors your values. And it's up to us, right? It's up to me individually in my life to stand with that and for that. And if I violate that, then I'm the one who has broken my boundary. So let me give you a good example. My health is really important to me. If I work into the wee hours of the night and I sacrifice sleep and I sacrifice eating a well-balanced meal and I sacrifice going out in nature, I sacrifice my relationships, all in the spirit of just having to get the job done, then I have violated the boundaries and the value of all of those other categories in my life, my relationships, my health, my sleep, right? Which leads to balance in my life. So just tune in right now and think about any area where you might be experiencing somebody crossing one of your boundaries. Just give that a little pause. Now I'd like to ask you to connect that to a value that you have. What is the value that really matters to you that is holding up the idea of this boundary? And can you see how that's up to you? So boundaries are actually a beautiful act of self-love because of what I had just said earlier. They are sacred thresholds that honor our values. And so as you honor your own values, you are demonstrating an act of self-love. Boundaries are great clarity creators. They can really help ourselves and others understand what those values are and the needs that we have without confusion or creating I lost it. I lost the train. It was coming in and then it's going out. As I'm talking about clarity creators, right? Boundaries are great clarity creators because they help us understand what we need, and we can better define how we're going to hold true to something by bringing in that clarity. Boundaries are great energy protectors. They preserve all of our vital energy for what truly matters, allowing us to show up more fully in the places and the relationships that we genuinely choose to invest in. So a good example of this is give up multitasking and move into single tasking. And watch your energy change. Because when we're multitasking, we're kind of in that time trap where we're trying to be ahead of things. We're worried about what was behind us. That multitasking is a fragmentation of our attention and our energy, and it splinters it and sends it out into all of these other places. Whereas single tasking, you get to bring all of you into the 0 point, like my 0 point practice. When we bring all of ourselves into that 0 point, we then suddenly have access to that higher wisdom. And then we're playing a different game. Christine says, I get tired of explaining my boundaries to people. That sounds like a coaching opportunity, Christine. Yeah, I'm just tuning in here. Seeing if I can find a little wisdom for you around this. Yeah, my sense of it is that people are just not accepting the boundary that you're creating. And because life is a mirror and life is always mirroring back to us what we've got going on inside of us, is there any part of you that is still not in full acceptance of what you're asking of everyone? And I know that that's a big question and one for contemplation. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's what came in. One day soon, we're going to be bringing people on for some live coaching. So we'll see. All right. That's the celebration of Love's Alchemy today. I am going to bring our show to a close today. Our next show is going to be on May 6th, and I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned for the announcement, and I will let you know. It just hasn't dropped in yet, and it will, but it hasn't yet. So we're going to go ahead and close our space, but I just want to thank you so much for being here. It means so much to me that you have found this time and this space in your day to slow down a click or two and to tune in, to give yourself an opportunity to open your heart, to widen the lens of your camera, to step out of the blender, to slow down, and to be here with me. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence, for your expression out into the world. Thank you for being you. We're going to close our space. We ask that the light be sent up ahead to anyone and everyone who is caught in the tornado of life, helping them remember that they have an unlimited source of power, an unlimited source of loving, an unlimited source of energy and inspiration, of alignment and upliftment. And all that we need to do to be able to access that is to land ourselves in the present moment, to take a breath and to regroup, to let go of the perceived illusions of control. We are now closing all energetic lines of communication between any of us, closing all open portals, gateways, channels, agreements, and lines of communication between any of us and the spirit world. We are grateful and we say thank you. We are now closing this space in love, with love, for love, by love, as love. I'm your host, Donna Bond. You're watching Spiritual Ambition, where women tune in to awaken their divine nature. Thank you for being here.